Have you ever wondered why they call it rebounding? It's such a good question, and some people have actually asked me in the comments, and I personally didn't know. So I took some time to look it up, and the answer actually was really applicable to what we do here on this channel, is bouncing, not jumping, but bouncing on a mini trampoline that we call a rebounder, but the actual act is also called rebounding, ing. And so rebounding comes from the specific way in which you interact with a trampoline. So when you imagine jumping on a trampoline, like a big trampoline out in the backyard, and you're usually imagining children, and they're bouncing, 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 jumping, flipping, doing major crazy things. That's where they started to create nets around trampoline, because kids would do all these acrobatic type activities, and they were not trained gymnasts. It was just the result of jumping with impact against the trampoline allowed them to fly in the air and do all kinds of crazy tricks. But with rebounding, and that's when we're on a mini trampoline with more tension, more like strength and impact, we have a more continuous rhythmic bouncing motion. So how your body responds to that consistent up and down movement, that's what you're getting. That's the term where rebound actually comes in. So the rebound refers to that gentle spring back action you get with each and every bounce, the resistance working in your body, because you're not actually trying to launch yourself in the air as if you're a 10-year-old jumping in the backyard trampoline. You're working with the body against the natural resistance of the trampoline. We call it rebounding because of this difference in how we go about this activity. That's why it's so much more appealing to adults, because I know that when I used a big backyard trampoline, I saw what they were doing. I just imagined the amount of calories I would burn. It looked like fun, but immediately I was off within 2 minutes because my body just went into immense shock. It was too much. It was jarring. Jarring is a great word for this, because I felt so shook and I felt so discombobulated. I had to hurry and get off, just be on the ground, be on the earth. And then I even had to go to the chiropractor and get adjusted because it was just shook something out of me. Just like I was out of whack. I was out of alignment just that quickly. So there are things that we do that we can do when we're a child, because our body is toned and new and limber and all the things. Think riding a roller coaster. If you ever did that when you were young, you probably didn't have much impact out of it in like lasting effects. You probably handled it pretty well. I rode multiple roller coasters like in my college years, not so much beforehand, but during my college years. I was leaner and toner, and I was, young and resilient, and I didn't have any issues. And so I was able to walk the whole day at the amusement park, be in the heat and not feel strained and worn out, and ride the roller coasters, roller coaster after standing in line for hours. And I was just fine. I cannot even imagine trying to do that now. Like, not just because of my weight, but because so many other things have changed in my body, including how I respond to heat, including how long I'm comfortable just standing on my feet or being in line. Like, there's so many different variables that have changed in my life now that I would just be completely discombobulated, in agony, if I was even to think about riding a roller coaster. The big trampoline in the backyard is not the same as what you're seeing me using, a small compact trampoline that is known as a rebounder. You're going to feel it differently. So if you're considering it and you're thinking about what it could be like and should you give it a try, you have this option of getting a rebounder and testing it. The other thing that I would say is when you go to choose your rebounder, you're even going to feel a difference individually from rebounder to rebounder. So remember when I told you I had to see a chiropractor after my big trampoline experience? I want to use that as an analogy to picking out a rebounder. When I started seeing a chiropractor, I had so many different people telling me different things about chiropractors. Some would just rave and rave and rave and say how amazing a chiropractor was. And some would tell me the total opposite, that I was like, gee whiz, do I see a chiropractor or do I not? On one hand, I'm petrified and I think I might die. And on the other hand, I think I might not live if I don't see a chiropractor because all the health benefits and how they're going to transform my whole life. Like, there was just such a variance. And in true Stephanie fashion, I did a lot of research and I didn't just jump in. I was reading up on it. I was having chronic back pain. I needed help. I'd bought a new mattress. I'd seen a masseuse. I was doing heat and cold therapy. I was taking just over the counter pain medicine. I was doing all these different things. And there was something that was in my back that had just like screwed me up and was like, I was in pain and I needed help. And so I did the research and then I picked a chiropractor, and he was amazing. And he got that out of my back because he was willing to talk to me about chiropractic. He was also willing to educate me about different things that he was doing when he was adjusting my body. I started to get really curious about it. I actually considered becoming a chiropractor, so much so that I had toured a couple of chiropractic schools. I went to a chiropractic conference and I learned enough about chiropractic to know that there's different schools of thought. There's different ways that chiropractors are trained, which is why we end up having different styles of people practicing as a chiropractic. So there's different ways that they adjust us, where they fix us and work on our bodies. That same thing is true of choosing a rebounder. There are different models, different tensions, different ways that it's built, the overall quality of it. And so you can experience one rebounder and go, that feels really soft and uncomfortable and I don't feel supported. You could try another rebounder and go, this feels too hard and too much and I feel achy. And you can have just like two polar opposite experiences. And then you can have this amazing experience where you get on a rebounder and you could feel well supported, but you could also have it be tender enough that it gives you back enough support and bounce that you can work out and it feels joyous and it feels energetic and it doesn't cramp you. It doesn't pinch you. It doesn't overstrain your muscles. And this has been one of my biggest promises I'm continuing to make on this channel is as I'm learning this, as I'm discovering more and more about rebounding, I want to keep educating you that if you are experiencing any kind of pain on your rebounder that you've tried, it's time to maybe check out a different type of rebounder. If you get on a rebounder and you can only go so long after maybe even a couple of weeks of trying it, and you're like, I don't know, is this just me or is it maybe the rebounder? It could potentially be in the rebounder is having to make your body work extra hard because it's not enough support or it's overly firm and it's discomforting for your body. And so your body is having to readjust for that. So I bring up all these things so that as you are shopping and considering even the rebounder you have, is it good for me to keep going on this rebounder? Maybe just consider these variables. So it could be too soft. It could be too hard. You really want it to be in a comfort zone, and that can only be determined by how you interact with the rebounder, because what is right for you may not be right for me, and what is right for me might not fit you perfectly. So that's why you'll also see me using different rebounders from time to time. And because I want to be able to demonstrate and show you different rebounders and give you different variables, different options to consider. I hope you're going to shop with these considerations in mind and know that you want to get one that's good for your body, but you also might be on a price constraint. So when I bounce on my high-end rebounder, which I adore, you might be like, well, that's out of my budget right now. And that's okay. There's another option that might work better for you. And that's why I like to be able to showcase that, even though that's not my preferred choice, because it is a lowercase option that might work for you getting started. So consider where you're at, consider what your needs are, and then think about how rebounding is going to work in your life, because you have the opportunity to find a fit that's going to work for you so you can have consistency and you can keep going and you can start to experience all of the amazing health benefits that come from using a rebounder. And as of today, it is July 8th, which is the first day of Prime Day, because Prime Day is now not just one day, it's a few days. And so if you're interested in getting a new rebounder, you might be interested in looking through what's on Amazon. You've seen me on two different BCAN models. One is currently unavailable, but the one that I'm bouncing on today is available. And so you can check it out if you're interested in purchasing during Prime Day and you have that opportunity. There's also some other great rebounders that you might be able to find for yourself as well. So be sure to do your research, consider what your body needs so that you can bounce with fun and safety and give your body exactly the support it needs to keep bouncing. All right, friend, happy bouncing, and I will talk to you tomorrow.